much for joining us for this session. I'd like to welcome you to the third day of ICASA 2025 being held in Accra, and I'm happy to have you join us in this abstract-driven session for Session D. Let me quickly welcome the presenters upstage so we are able to buy some time, some of which we've already lost. I'll now invite Rachel Lawe, who is a PhD candidate at the University of Ottawa. Shall we welcome her as she comes upstage? Rachel Lawe. And then I'll call on Mr. Edgar Bagasol. Mr. Edgar Bagasol. Mr. Edgar Bagasol, kindly move forward and join me upstage. And finally, Miss Joanne Wanjiru. Miss Joanne Wanjiru, kindly join me upstage. Miss Joanne Wanjiru, Mr. Edgar Bagasol, and Dr. Rachel Lawe, kindly join me upstage. Okay, thank you very much. Since we have Dr. Rachel Lawe with us, the IT team could kindly put up her slides so she takes the first presentation whilst we wait for the other two presenters to join us. And she is presenting on an abstract she shared, which is entitled Through Our Eyes, Exploring the Experiences of Young Women Living with HIV in Lower Menya Krobo, Ghana, using photo voice. That's the title of her abstract. But before she comes up, Rachel is a public health researcher, author, and a PhD candidate at the University of Ottawa. She has a decade of experience designing and evaluating global health programs across sub-Saharan Africa and Canada. Her current research explores the sexual and reproductive health experiences of young women and girls living with HIV in Ghana, using participatory methods to amplify voice and drive change. She mentors emerging researchers, serves on the leadership of a Graduate Student Association, and is a board member of the Immigrant Writers Association of Canada. Shall we welcome her with a round of applause?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the little mix-up earlier. And so for the sake of time, I'll just go straight to my presentation for today. And to introduce myself, I'm Rachel Lawe. I'm a PhD candidate from the University of Ottawa, where my work looks to understand the sexual reproductive health experiences of young women and girls who are living with HIV in the Lower Manya Krobo municipality. And I'm doing it through a methodology called photo voice. If we can have the next slide, please. Okay, so to give a little background about this work, my work is looking at young women and girls within the ages of 15 to 24, and we know that they account for 1/4 of all new infections in the country. If you look at Lower Manya Krobo municipality, where I am coming from, the HIV prevalence nationally is 1.5, but over there it's 5.3. We also do understand that sociocultural, structural, and interpersonal factors influence young women's ability and willingness to access sexual reproductive health services and care. And so I wanted to understand how this works for young women living with HIV in this municipality. To do that, there are a couple of questions that I wanted to understand. What are the sexual reproductive health experiences of this group? How aware are they of the services that are available to them? And what are some of the facilitators and the barriers to accessing sexual reproductive health within this community? And so, photo voice, again, is a method that uses photography to share or highlight the lived experiences of people. And so this is the method that I was using. I also added 15 interviews with health providers, policymakers, and program leads. And then there's a thematic analysis of that. To talk a bit about how the process went, I sought ethical approval from University of Ghana. Then there was a follow-up training. There's also support during the time they have to take pictures. So each participant, each of the 21 participants would take 5 photos. Then we would meet and discuss what these photos represent to them. Then we would have a group exhibition where we did 2 separate exhibitions to protect privacy. So for exhibition 1, the girls met together to discuss collectively what are some of the challenges that they are seeing in their lives and what are some of the solutions that they want to propose. Exhibition 2 is me meeting with stakeholders and sharing these challenges, the photos, and also what the girls have proposed as solutions. We couldn't put the 2 groups together because of privacy and confidentiality concerns. And if you see in the picture over here, you will see some of the community leaders and the health workers going around the exhibition and seeing the pictures. So to see who these girls are, you wouldn't see that the highest educational level is secondary school. We've had some of them who have dropped out. 12 of them are mothers with children between 1 to 3. For the key informants, we've had health workers, we've had policy leads, community leaders, including a queen mother. And so to show you what some of the pictures are as the results that we got, or I got from this study. The study is based on the social ecological model as the other presenters share. So this talks about how we don't live in a vacuum, and then at the individual level, at the interpersonal level, at the community level, there are factors over here that shape how we assess health and well-being. And so the first picture you see here is a picture of a flower. And if you can read the quote underneath, it talks about how a participant discovered that they had HIV and they felt that they were very different. They could not look at themselves in the mirror. They felt like the disease has left them feeling very different. The second picture is that of a feeding bottle, and then the participant mentioned that they found out that they had HIV. They didn't have a lot of education, and so they decided to seek an abortion. It was later when they had access to a lot more education that they realized that they could have carried their pregnancy to term if they wanted to. The third is to highlight resilience. The participant was saying that every day that she wakes up and she sees the sun, she knows that life goes on and she's able to move on. So at the individual level, we see that our participants, or the girls within the Lower Manyakrobo municipality, they are having the confidence, they are also having resilience, and then there's also a knowledge and a lack of knowledge issue over there. Now, at the interpersonal level, we see fear of disclosure, we also see isolation, we also see support. And the picture that you're seeing here for the first one is a pile of sacks. And the participants took this picture to highlight that they try to use condoms with their partner, but then the partner removes it midway and they do not know how to navigate that. The second is a participant who is highlighting isolation. So they did not tell anybody in their family or in their close circles of their diagnosis because they feel like once they mention that they have HIV, they become reduced to just this person living with HIV. Who they are, their aspirations all get lost and they become that girl with HIV. And so the third one highlights social support within the community and also within their immediate family. And so the participant took this picture to highlight that they feel like they should be protected. If you see, the picture is of a sand with cement blocks surrounding it. And so the son here is the girl, and then the blocks are the family that are supposed to protect her. And you can see that some of the sand is seeping through the blocks, and she felt like she is not being protected, so she's not taking the right decisions that she's supposed to. Now, if we look at the community level, the pictures that are highlighted over there is a picture of a hospital and then a polytank. And then the participant took that to highlight that the hospital environment has been the only support that she has. And she felt like it is keeping her safe. The people at the VCT unit are the only people that she can talk to. The next picture over here highlights being caged. So this is a metal cap that is supposed to cover a tap. So she has her family who live with her, and they understand that she has HIV. But whenever she wants to share water or whenever she wants to share towel with her son, everybody disagrees, and they say that she's trying to transfer HIV to her child. Now, the third picture is that of a withered tree, and then it highlights somebody whose life has just been reduced to nothing. And so this participant took this picture to highlight that they had a system where they could go to the pharmacy and just pick up their medication from there. And one time that they were there, they met a health worker who got to know of their status and disclosed to somebody who was her partner, who she had had a baby with and was living with. As a result of that, she was kicked out of the home, and her connection to her son was separated. So for the past 4 years, she can only go to visit her son. And so this highlights at the community and the health system level that we have some positive security protection from there, but at the community level, we also have high stigma, and we also have high misinformation about how HIV is transmitted. Now, at the structural and then at the policy level, we see what is supposed to be a door. And it's to signify that adolescents used to have support groups and also programs that provided them with food. Now, what we see from this is that there's food insecurity, which is affecting adherence. Now, in the second picture is a wet tree, and then the wet tree signifies nourishment. And so the participant says that if we don't get food, they don't take their medication. So for 3 or 4 times in a week, if they are not able to have food, they will not take the medication because they feel that will harm them. And then the third picture comes back to tell us that aside ARVs being free, there are also other costs, other health-related costs that participants have to navigate. And so when we look at the structural level, yes, we are providing ARVs, yes, we are trying to support, but then there are also other things within our systems that are hindering adherence and hindering well-being. Now, when we come to key informant insights, they highlight some of these things that we see. And the earlier plenary explained that cuts to funding results in cuts to programs. It also results in a lack of support for systems that have already been set up. In the girls that I was talking to, some of them were working as peer-to-peer support people, and the current USAID funding cut has affected them, so they are currently out of jobs. Now, when we look at service and access barriers, at the Lower Manyakobo municipality, viral loads and other key tests would have to be taken to the regional level to be worked on, for a lack of a better word, but then this results in delays, and that they are not able to support or serve as efficiently as they would like to. And now they also highlighted that there were very few safe spaces for young people, and they don't have tailored materials, and also they understand that there's health worker training gaps. Now, recommendations from this study is empowering girls with the knowledge on their SRHR rights. If somebody discloses your status, what are you supposed to do? Who are you supposed to contact? Now, when we come to interpersonal, we want to strengthen peer networks for support and safe disclosure. When it comes to community level, we want to train providers to understand and be able to provide trauma-informed care that is culturally sensitive. And when it comes to the structural level, we want to have programs that are not just supported by external donor funds. We want our local district offices to be involved in providing support with regards to food, with regards to any type of support for any supplementary medication that these girls need. And also we want to have legal structures to support this. And so I would like to acknowledge these people with whom I would not be here to talk about this work today. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Please, do we have Edgar in the room now? Is Edgar now with us? Or Joanne? Is Joanne here now? Okay, okay. Shall we clap for Rachel again? Yes. So we've heard her tell us how she used photo voices to amplify the hidden stories of the young ones in the Lower Menya Krobo district of Ghana. Do we have any questions for her? Yes, I see a hand here. Any more hands up? Okay, another hand at the back. Okay, let's take these two for now. Yes.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Forgive me if I get your name wrong. I am Mata Kofi with the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, representing the National Council on Persons with Disabilities. I find it so intriguing by your research and its founding and in the methodology you use. That is very comprehensive, and then it brings to life the reality of persons living with HIV, especially the youth and what they go through. But I just want to find out, and in your search, did you ever consider in your mind wanting to be specific and target a most vulnerable group that are always left out, that is girls with disabilities? And if no, what are the chances and opportunity for collaboration so that we can be able to research together with you, and then we find out how many youth or young girls or people living with disabilities are also affected by HIV, and what we can do to help them as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Dennis Sesanga, a researcher from Uganda Virus Institute. Yeah, so I was also intrigued by your presentation, yeah, about the challenges and what the girls shared with you, especially on the aspect of food and it being one of the deterrents from them taking their medication. Did you get any interesting feedback on how they thought, let me say, that challenge could be solved?
Okay, go ahead and respond to these. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to start first with the question on disability. And so one of my participants had a disability. She mentioned she was the one who took the picture of the tree with the water on the tree that signifies nourishment. And so you brought up a very, very key point about exacerbating, conditions. And so when we look at somebody living with a disability who also has HIV, we know that they are very vulnerable. All of the threats are heightened, but the focus of the study was not targeted directly towards people living with disability, and that is something that we can explore in the future. But I do get the point that you have made, and this is something that we can work on moving forward. Yeah. And the next, the other question, which I had forgotten. Do you have that?
It was whether you explore the challenge with food, whether they have access to food. Yeah.
Yes. And so the challenge with access to food insecurity was a very big issue that was affecting adherence to medication, and it came across within a lot of the participants' conversations. And so when it came to that, participants had mentioned that some time ago they used to have a program where they were giving food, they were giving support. Some of the programs provided them with trainings where they can continue to do some work to be able to support themselves. But unfortunately, those were not sustainable because these are donor-funded projects. And so one of the things that they came up with was including the local government. If the district, the local district has money for support, then they could come in. But then there were no other discussions on that topic apart from this.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, yes.
Ms. Lawe, thank you very much for your work. My name is Oko Ama. I work with Youth Community in African Ghana. I'm very familiar with the Lower Manyakrobo area, and so I have a very good interest in this. And your research helps us humanize young girls living with HIV. But what I would want to ask is, if you've started some collaboration with people in the media, because you've started something great, and we need these stories to be told in the media because it helps change the narrative so that we are able to even mobilize domestic resources, because you mentioned the funding cuts, and I'm sure a lot of us in this room are affected one way or the other. But what does it mean for a young girl who is living with HIV and with a disability, whose story needs to be told, and how does government come in? Once it does that, it changes people's perception and even helps mobilize support from people, because we need more of these stories in the media. The media can be saturated with statistics and all, but it is these stories that adds faces and helps to pull people together to support these young girls. Thank you.
Hi there. Oh. Yeah. Maxime Engels. I'm a demographer at the University of Lincoln. Thank you very much, Rachel, for your presentation. I found that very fascinating. I had some question more on the methods and the implementation of your research. How did you manage, did you deliver any training for them to take any picture? And how did you manage those who didn't have a cell phone? Did you provide one? And also regarding the acceptance of your research in the community, because some of the women might not have disclosed their status to the community. So how did you manage the fact that them taking picture could raise concern or raise question with that? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll take a third question, then you respond. Okay.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for such a very inspiring and I think different presentation. So my questions are, what inspired you to use photography? As I said, this is the first time I've seen photography being used to highlight some of the challenges. And so I want to find out what inspired you to do that. And then how do you decide which of them is something that's worth talking about? And then my last question is, if I had just one take-home message from your presentation, what would that be? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Rachel, your first question was any collaboration with the media following these findings? Have you collaborated to churn it out in the media? Then the second one was how you trained your data collectors in code, your participants who became your data collectors.
One by one.
One by one, okay.
Yeah, I have a very short memory. And so I would go with the media collaboration. And so whilst I have not strongly collaborated with any media. One of the things that came up from the stakeholder exhibition was that they were going to do a lot of communication. So they have a health program where they go on a radio station within the community to talk about health issues. And when they realized the level of stigma that is still existing within the community, they decided that they would add HIV myth and misconception section to that conversation. So that is where we are starting from. And also over here, if there are any media houses that would like to pick this up, I am happy to work together on that. But you brought a very key point about how we can change perception. I am from the Lower Manyakrobo municipality, and you as a Ghanaian know that the municipality is highly stigmatized because of HIV. A lot of research work has been done within our community, which have benefited Ghana largely with regards to the strides they've made in HIV. But this has unfortunately also left us being seen as people who are promiscuous, people who are into sex work, and that is why HIV is very prevalent in the area. So we would like to really change that kind of conversation. As we have seen from all of the work that is being done, HIV has very little to do with individual personal behavior. There are bigger issues, multi-level issues that exist within the space that we would have to highlight and focus if we really want to get to a point where we are making progress.
Thank you. The next was on your data collection approach. How did you, whether you trained your participants who became your data collectors, and then for those who didn't have a phone, how did you support them to gather that data for you, and the acceptance of your results in the community as well?
Yeah. So thank you for that question. That is a very important question. And so when it comes to training, yes, I did do some training with the girls. What is a good picture to take? You know you want to tell a story, but because of privacy, we cannot take pictures of anything that will lead somebody to know who you are. So you realize that there's a lot of symbolism with everyday things that exist within their spaces. So you will see a feeding bottle, you see a tap, you see water, you see sunrise. So these are using symbolic materials within their homes to really bring out how they feel and what their experiences are like. And so when it comes to, what was the other section of
okay,
the
then the phone.
Yeah.
Those who didn't have a phone,
Yeah.
how?
So the community also is a place where a lot of the girls do not work, and so phones were a challenge. Now, my research didn't have a lot of financial backing, so I couldn't provide them with phones, or I couldn't provide them with cameras. But what we decided at a certain point is that we had a lot of girls who were not able to participate. The initial number was supposed to be 40, and we had recruited over 40, but a lot could not participate because they didn't have access to phones, and they didn't have access to safe persons that they would want to get these phones from, because it raises an issue of privacy and confidentiality. And so at a point, I recruited a research assistant who was also a young woman living with HIV within the same group. And she was the one offering support to those who do not have phones. So they would meet up with her, and then she would have conversations and then loan them a phone, and then they would take those pictures. So that is how I navigated that aspect.
Okay. The third question from him was, how was your findings accepted in the community?
Yeah. So this is a very key part of the work. So the Photo Voice allows for us to highlight the stories, but then it also puts together community leaders, health workers, and all other people into the rooms to see these pictures alongside the quotes, and then to experience the life from the perspective of these pictures. And that was exactly what it did. In that room, a lot of the people who worked with the girls, they mentioned that they do work with these girls every day, but they have not experienced their life like this. And they are doing a fantastic job, because one health worker can be seeing 60 persons a day. There's no time to really understand what is your background, what is going on with you in that consultation room. And so this provided a medium where they were able to see some of the issues and also talk to each other about things that they think they can change from the small level, small changes that they can make at the start as they advocate for the bigger things. So there was some level of acceptance within that space, but then we are looking to disseminate this work more widely into the community, and that is where we will see how acceptable this is.
Okay, thank you. On the third set of questions, let me take the first one. What inspired your use of photography?
I am a creative person at heart, so anything that is looking to combine research work and creativity is something that I will do. For a long time, we have done a lot of statistical work. We know what is the prevalence. We know a lot about who are these people and what are their stories. How do we get these girls to talk about this in a way that they can do something creative and feel safe? This methodology allows them to really lead with the kind of stories that they shared. One participant told me, I don't want to take sad pictures. I don't want my story to be sad. I want to show what I do. I want to show who I am, and I want to lead powerfully. And that was exactly what she did. Although she shared some of the challenges, her pictures were of morning sun, her resilience, and other things. So that is what inspired me to do this.
Great. Then, of the pictures taken, how did you select those to use for your analysis?
Yeah, so each participant had to take 5 pictures, after which they would come and we would discuss, and then they would choose 3. At the exhibition, they would again go through the pictures and tell me which ones they are comfortable with sharing. And so they led the process of what they want shown and what they want out here.
Okay, thanks. And following your presentation, what's the single take-home message you want her to have?
So there's a lot of messages, and now that you've asked me, I seem to have forgotten. But if you don't leave here with anything, I want us to know that there is a lot that we need to understand about the people that we work with. And the earlier presenters had mentioned whose stories are we telling, who are the people that we are measuring results for. If we don't center the lived experiences of the people that we work with, we are really not going to get anywhere. So if you don't leave here with anything, please know that centering people's experiences and centering the lived experience of these vulnerable people that we are working with is the key thing to do if we want to achieve our HIV targets.
Thank you. Is there any other question? Okay, there is one more. Then I'll also ask one before we end the session. Yes, I'm also entitled to a question. Yes.
Hello, good morning. My name is Phoebe Mary, also a researcher. Looking at the age bracket of your participants, I want to know if you had challenges with seeking parental consent. Thank you.
Phoebe has taken my question. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I do not have challenges with seeking parental consent. The way that recruitment work was that when the girls reach out to me, we would talk about what the work is about, and then we would have to, if they are under 18, they give assent, and then I get their parent or a legal guardian to give consent for them. And it was not a challenge. Parents understood. There were some parents who came along with their child to come and participate, but ultimately it was not a challenge at all, which was something that I had feared would be, but it wasn't.
Okay, thank you very much. I still have a question. What were some biases in the work, and how did you overcome them?
I knew you were going to give me a tough one. So I personally come from the Lower Manyakrobo, so this was a very emotional work for me. And so alongside the work, I had to keep reflecting on if I am interpreting this or I'm tackling this the way that it's supposed to be. And luckily, we had the exhibition where the girls can reiterate exactly what they are saying and what they want me to present out there. Also having a research assistant who also had the lived experience of living with HIV was also something that sort of checked as a checker for me. So if we are understanding the same thing, then it means that we are doing the right thing. If we have different understanding, it means that there's a bias somewhere that we have to look at. And so that was how that was handled.
Thank you so much. So we've run out of our time now. One question. Okay. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Kindly go ahead.
Okay, so I know that photo voice, people normally use disposable cameras. Did you consider that?
Yeah, that was also considered. We did not have enough funding to do that, and so that was why we used participants' own phones.
Okay, can I also ask a question? My name is Bright Bejo, a focal person at the district level. I want to know the indicators that you use to measure the impact of HIV-related media campaign and sexual behavior and awareness, please.
Thank you so much for that question, but the focus of the study was not measuring media campaign, it was to center lived experience, and so that was what we did.
Okay, is there someone online who wants to ask a question? Okay, thank you very much. So this session was meant to have 3 presentations, but we had only one, and I've done well drilling this. There's a question, someone online. A presenter online. We've run out of time. Yeah, we've run out of time now, so cannot take that presentation. Yes, so we had Rachel Lawe, who showed us how she used photo voices to amplify the lived experiences of young ones living with HIV in the Lower Krobo Menya district of Ghana. And in summary, there are several barriers to their comprehensive care, especially at the community level. We have very strong collaboration at the national and subnational level to be able to support them to not only survive, but thrive to achieve their goals in life. Thank you for joining the session, and have a great day, everyone.